Hmm? It was minutes later when I turned to the lobby. I felt like I'd heard someone there. Is there anyone there? I expected them to come from the stairs. Seconds passed and I hadn't heard anything else. Could have been mistaken, so I slowly stepped to the door. No one. Had I imagined it? I entered, drawn once again by the blood ahead. Without a doubt, it was where the bigger pool had been earlier. I didn't imagine it this time. There's someone in hallway A. I retreated slowly. Wait, there's someone in hallway B as well. I doubted what to do as I approached the mechanical room. See, this is why I'll be seen. I can't enter either hallway, so as soon as someone comes here, they'll find me. It'll probably happen even if I go down. My only move was to wait. When I thought about it, I realized that being found could have been good. As long as Atsuki was one of the people I'd heard, I could stop worrying about my well-being. If I was with him until my past self left the attic, I knew Sai and Akira wouldn't be a threat because Atsuki hadn't said that something had happened to me. But what would I tell him? No matter how much I wanted to talk to him, what could I possibly say? The Atsuki of this morning, where is he? Will I ever find him again? He was a future version of the Atsuki here, but how will everything lead into what happened? How will he end up at the beginning of this day? After my past self traveled to November, could I stay with Atsuki? Even though it was possible the exit wouldn't open, could I just stay with him? According to what he told to me, that wouldn't happen, as instead a Shiria who wasn't the real Shiria would appear. Was it possible for me to change reality in a way so that wouldn't occur? The end was very uncertain, even more than the first time I'd gone through it. I didn't know what would happen, what I would do, or what I could do. It didn't seem like anything was happening. I'd been expecting either door to open, but a few still minutes had already passed. I know I didn't imagine it. There was someone in both hallways. I guess it's just a matter of time, since I know for a fact I'll be seen. Could it be that I've already been seen? What if I didn't know about it, but it already happened? It didn't seem likely that I'd just be ignored, but I had no way to know. No matter what, there was nothing else I could do but stay in place. Yeah. Hey, where are you? What? Atsuki? Jia, can you hear me? What's happening? Like a sharp needle, Atsuki's voice pierced into my chest. The pain in those words wasn't one I'd heard before. Okay, right? If you can hear me, please come out. Say something. In the sudden manner they'd started, the shouts faded with a wail. Then in their place came a shrill cry. Atsuki was sobbing like a broken person. With a trembling hand, I grabbed the knob. As I pulled the door open, I saw Atsuki on the floor. He wasn't just crying, he was shaking. He was a wreck. Hey! My hoarse voice didn't reach him. Gently, and trying not to stagger, I took a step forward. When he saw me, he gathered himself enough to stop shaking and warily stood up. Are you actually Shiria? I didn't know what to say. When his eyes pierced into mine, any words I could have prepared flew out of my mind. Where were you? What's with those clothes? Are you the same person who disappeared with Sai? The same person? I'm not. Not in the sense he means. It felt like my voice was stuck in my throat, and my thoughts were all over the place. Had that exact conversation always happened while I'd been in the attic? I'm sorry, I'm very confused too. I guess so, though. You guess so? What do you mean? You remember everything, right? That she does. Right now? I stopped myself. From hallway C, a figure approached. Yes? It was Erina. The look in her eyes and her way of walking had cut me off. When Atsuki turned around, he hardly reacted, so I wondered if he already knew what had happened to her. I'm glad to see you two are safe. I was a bit worried. What's with those clothes? You weren't wearing them earlier, were you? Who the hell are you? Or even you? How can you two exist? What? It was the Erina we thought had died. Her clothes were stained with blood and she appeared to be groggy. Where were you? How did you just appear out of nowhere? In response to that, Erina slowly knitted her brow. What do you not understand? Did you just pop into existence at some point? No, why do you say that? Have you looked at that room? Your body is there. What? That one? It can't be. I knew you were lying. I can't be here. Of course not. Shirya, what the hell is happening? Answer my other questions. How can you exist when it shouldn't be possible? Did the same thing happen to Erina? To Erina? She should be dead, right? I stepped to the door. Of course, Erina's body was no longer there. About Erina, I think what happened isn't what you think. That's probably right. I can't think of anything anymore. Under those stained clothes, there's no wound, right? Huh? There never was one. The body you think disappeared is her. Do you mean that she never died? I nodded. When we found Erina, the shock of Kate's death was still affecting us. We hadn't checked to confirm her death because we hadn't even doubted it. Are you serious? Were you playing dead then, or just unconscious? It doesn't look like you feel very well. I'm not sure. I remember I was drawn to this room and then I think I blacked out. Drawn? By a noise? No, something stronger. But I'm not sure what exactly. I don't know whose blood this is, but since I woke up I felt groggy and numb. I see. I had no idea what that was about. I'd been in her room when she had appeared, but I hadn't sensed anything like that. Shirya, do you remember finding her body as well? And you realized what really happened? You still haven't explained what you're doing here. Are you the same Shirya who disappeared from the event room with Sai? I wish I could explain everything to you, but I still don't really know what happened. But yes, I'm really glad to see you again. I smiled and felt a wave of relief. It didn't matter that I didn't know why I was there again. Those words had been the most sincere of my life. What's with those clothes then? Why is the cross not on them? Why did you ignore me when we saw each other in the event room and when I kept shouting your name? Well, Hey, I'm still confused, but I have a question. Uh-huh? The Sekimeiya, does it really make you travel through time? How does it work then? What? If I understand it, touching it with your skin activates it, right? And you can go far into the past if it's out of the cabinet for a while. That's what I've been working under, yes. He looked at me in case I had an objection. Even after everything that had happened, that still should have been correct, so I nodded uncertainly. I was thinking, why don't I just go back in time to save Isla? Atsuki and I looked at each other, and I wondered about her proposition. What would happen if Erina changed the past? What would happen to the world? And to us? I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier. Someone killed her a few hours ago, so I just have to travel to that point and prevent it. Saving Isla was something I could do. It should have been possible, given what I knew. But I couldn't find the Sekimeiya. I kept looking at Isla's face for a very long time, and she told me that she could be saved. Then I saw a girl, and after that I heard you shouting. A girl? You saw Shirya? I guess it couldn't have been anyone else. It must have been Shirya. Oh, she did? I wonder if she's talking about the time before she fell unconscious, when I was in the crystal room with her. I also saw what happened to Kate. It looked horrible. Did someone do that? It couldn't have been an accident. But anyway, the Sekimeiya's not in the event room. Are you sure? Do you know where it could be? I really need to find it. No, I suspect Sai or Akuro must have taken it. I knew where one was, but I couldn't bring myself to say it. Once again, the decision of whether to change the past had to be made. and I couldn't do it. Are you lying? What? No, I'm not. Is he not? Who has the Sekimeiya Sai and I traveled with? If he does, I understand why he'd lie. Right now he believes the past can't be changed. Actually, that's right. He changed his mind on that before I got out of the attic. He said he'd changed the past. I frowned. What exactly was going to happen? The way you two reacted, you don't want me to save Isla, do you? That's not it at all. Remember that Sai and Akro have the cabinet key? They probably took the Sekimeiya away. It seemed Erina was seeing through us. Discontent, she walked to the event room. I knew it. You were lying. Huh? You didn't want me to look at the cabinet. The Sekimeiya's here. Did Atsuki leave it in the cabinet? I don't think he would have. I looked at him, as I thought he was very confused. The Sekimeiya shouldn't have been there. Erina opened the glass and rolled the Sekimeiya into her purse, not wanting to touch it for the time being. Then she immediately let the curtain fall back down. After a long silence, the hallway A door opened. When we looked over, someone was stepping into the room. It was Sai. He had already escaped from the attic. What's up? What the fuck are you even doing here? Did you succeed with that plan of yours? Oh, not quite, unfortunately. I thought Erina was dead. What's she doing with the Sekimeiya? You thought that too? No, I'm going to go to the past to save Isla. Huh? I doubt that. The past can't be changed. That's nonsense. I'm going to the past, so I'll prevent Isla from dying. You've used the Sekimeiya before, right? How long do I need to wait to go enough hours back? Should be about 15 minutes, but I still find it unlikely you'll change anything. Sai, where the fuck did you go? Were you in the attic? Do you know where Shiria went? I saw her disappear with you. Isn't she next to you? What's with those clothes anyway? Are they from there? They are. I see. They're definitely an improvement for you. And just ignore me, Atsuki. I was busy sorting something out. Sorting something out. I couldn't help but visibly react, as I knew he had just locked my past self in the attic. Oh, right, I'd forgotten about this too. I found this just now. I tried to read it, but my head hurt a lot. Do you know what it is? Out of nowhere, Erina took out a piece of paper from her purse and handed it to Atsuki. I saw some black letters on it, but I didn't recognize what it was. Immediately, he stashed it in his pocket. Hey, what was that? Don't mind me, like you said. You look pretty nervous. I saw something written there. You were pretty in control of things when you pulled off that trick with the key earlier, so why is this making you get all worked up? Do you want to hide it that badly? It's just a personal paper. It has nothing to do with you or the Sekimeiya. Very intriguing then. A personal paper? I didn't think I'd seen it before. When I glanced at him, he immediately looked away, leaving me a little surprised. So, did any of you see Mia? What? Who? You don't know her, right? I knew I wasn't going insane. How do you know that name? She's the person I was with earlier, before I saw you two. It just came back to me. I don't know where she went, though. What just happened? That's not possible. How could she have seen Mia? What's with that reaction? Don't you see she's just delirious? She didn't die, but I have a pretty good idea of what happened to her. Say, did you hallucinate someone? That's not it. That's not just some name she made up. Do you know this person then? We do, but Erina couldn't have seen her. She couldn't be here. Are you sure? She could have entered through the storeroom. She could have even traveled from the future, since the Sekimeiya is bound to be exposed to the outside world. That's not what she means. She's not anywhere right now. Oh, is she dead? Wait, Mia, you said? That was the biggest blow I'd been dealt in a long time. I'd grown to think I partially understood what had happened, but a few words had shattered everything. I kind of forgot that this whole conversation took place in the first act, in the first chapter, where we were in Atsuki's POV, so I forgot that this is all news to Shiria. What did it mean? Could it have been another prediction from the world? Had my own decision been handed to me, confirming that it would save Mia? There was no way that didn't make sense. There was no way. That didn't make sense. If I'd changed the past, many more things would have differed as well. No, she's with us. She has red hair, right? Did you actually see her? What did she say? She told me her name, but she didn't look lost or anything. She knew me too. She just suddenly ran away and I haven't seen her again. I definitely thought I hadn't seen her before, but I honestly wasn't sure. There was no way to make sense of what she was saying. It seemed the structure of the world had been warped beyond comprehension. I don't know how to interpret this. Did you all agree to make up the story from when I appeared? Shut up. Well, I'm trying to figure things out myself, and I thought I was close to understanding quite a bit, but now there's a bunch of shit I don't get, and it doesn't feel great. It did mean she died, right? Is saving her with the Sekimeiya not an option? Sai, shut the fuck up. If it was, I promise you that we would have done it. Was Atsuki right? I didn't know anymore. I'd never known. Saving Mia alongside everyone else should have been possible. Traveling days to the past could soon occur. How could that have tied into what Erina had said, though? There was no longer anything that made sense. It's probably been close to 15 minutes already, right? I'd say so, yes. It's been almost 15 minutes since I arrived. Are you sure I'll go far enough back? She died at around 2 PM, right? It should be enough, yes. Okay, I'm going then. Are all of you coming with me? Don't worry, we're far enough from you. I understand. Well, goodbye for now. Side kept lying to Erina, claiming 15 minutes was long enough to go hours back. However, I couldn't be entirely sure that was impossible. Given what we knew, as she got her hand closer to her purse, the three of us stepped back. Given what we knew about the range, we should have been outside of it. But I was concerned. Were we highly mistaken about how the range worked? I didn't stop retreating until Erina's hand contacted the Sekimeiya. And when it did, something I hadn't even imagined occurred. Sai was the only person to disappear. What? Wait, what? I was speechless. Erina had touched the Sekimeiya, and we'd been further away than Sai. It didn't make any sense. Why had he been the only one to travel? Why didn't it work? Did Sai disappear? Was everything that he said a lie? It was almost laughable. We'd always been so far from the truth. Admit it, did you ever want me to save Isla? Were you involved in the first place? You're wrong. We don't know how the Sekimeiya works, but this shouldn't have happened. No matter what I thought, it didn't make sense. I couldn't even come up with a baseless explanation. Oh wait, where did it go? It's not here. Erina was glaring at her purse. It was empty. Wait, what? The Sekimeiya disappeared? It teleported. Perplexed, Atsuki walked to the cabinet. When he raised the curtain, we saw the Sekimeiya sitting comfortably behind the glass. Did it teleport to the cabinet? This has to be what Atsuki talked about. Atsuki, tell me, what do I need to do to travel through time? Exactly what Sai and I told you. I don't know why it didn't work just now. No, that's not it. The Sekimeiya didn't teleport. That's wrong. I thought back on what had just happened. Erina opened the glass and rolled the Sekimeiya into her purse, not wanting to touch it for the time being. Then she immediately let the curtain fall back down. Perplexed, Atsuki walked to the cabinet. When he raised the curtain, we saw the Sekimeiya sitting comfortably behind the glass. She didn't close the glass before lowering the curtain, but it's closed right now anyway. The Sekimeiya didn't teleport. I looked at the floor and my heart skipped a beat. There was no drop of blood. This goes back to my theory of reverting the building to a former state. Either that or other possibility. It wasn't that Sai teleported. Everyone else, apart from Sai, teleported back to the past, but just, you know, not changed position. That's also a possibility. Then the reason why only Sai disappeared. Can I not save Isla? Why did it not work? Oh, of course. What was I even thinking? Traveling to the past isn't possible. You lied about it since the beginning, right? That's why it didn't work. It can't happen. I actually fell for it. Just wait here. I'll be back in a second. Before he could react, Atsuki went to hallway B. I left Erina behind and saw him entering the staff room. Oh, he went into the staff room. Was I right? I don't get it. Sekimeiya shouldn't have been in the cabinet. He promptly came back out. Did it disappear? Yes. I see. So it is as I thought. What did you want to do? Oh, I'm just intrigued by Sai's whereabouts because an extra version of him has existed somewhere in the past. Did we never see him in so many hours? I'm not sure, but he has to be somewhere. There you are. What were you doing? Sai appeared from the lobby. Huh? What the fuck? On his face there was only shock. I saw it very well, as his eyes were boring a hole through me. Huh? Who the fuck are you? How are you here? Before I recovered from hearing that, someone came from the event room. Whoa, what's this girl doing here? It was Akro, and I understood. It was the time when Atsuki had seen him again. It wasn't happening for the first time. Atsuki, now you have to answer. Who is she? Are you actually acting as if you don't recognize me? Of course we don't. Well, no. Of course we do. Aren't you dead? Dead? When did I die? Did it happen again? Me? Why would I be dead? And you too, Erina. I thought you died. What? Isn't that what you said earlier? Earlier? What the hell are you talking about? There was no question. That Sai wasn't the same person we'd just been with. Sai, what time is it? It's 1843. Why? Did you time travel? No, I didn't. He's right though. Are you a future version of Erina or something? What? Well, you're not dead after all, but we felt your pulse. In any case, I figured you would have come from the future. What even happened to you? I can't remember much. I think someone hit my head and I fell unconscious. I don't know what happened before that. Yeah, that's about what we knew too. Sorry that we can't be of more use. I don't get it either, but I'm glad you're safe. This means you're not guaranteed to end up dead, but you... What even is your name? How did you get here? I've been here since the start. That's not true. What? How could that possibly not be true? Hold on though, your name. I think I might actually remember that. Shiroya, was it? My memories are a little foggy. I nodded, puzzled. I thought so. Like I said, I thought you died. As you can see, I'm alive. You have a twin by any chance? What? No. But then, it doesn't make any sense. I'm still really confused. What the fuck do you mean you're confused? She just showed up like that. Did you enter through the storeroom? I've been with you since 9, Sai. That's a load of crap. Regardless, you'll definitely die. I'm sorry to tell you like that, but you're not making it easy for us. Atsuki, I know you know her. I'm going to die. That's not true. It has to be another false fate spawned the same way as the other. I do, and she's telling the truth. Are you just fucking with me? What's the point of lying so blatantly? He's telling the truth. She has been with us the entire time. The entire time? Not even you have been here since 9. Excuse me? Well, you get what I mean. You don't remember when you got attacked or where you came from very well, right? Of course, Eren and Isla have been here the whole time, but not you. The Sekimeiya had disappeared as soon as Eren had touched it. In the storeroom, the same thing had happened to me. I looked around, wondering where I was. Oh. What? A camera. Above the door to the lobby, a camera focused its lens on us. Unlike all the others, no smoke was on its smooth surface. And the green light isn't there. It's that world. The one from this morning. Yeah, I just figured that out as well. So it's not that the building is changing per se. It's that the timeline is changing and the building is just different depending on the timeline. So that's also what happened with the elevator buttons. There was some kind of time travel, they changed to a different world. Possibly. I don't remember the details of that too much. It was probably like, well, a very long time ago. Then that Atsuki, is he here? When Naomi touched the Sekimeiya, he must have stayed behind. I need to go somewhere. What? I'm sorry, I need to go to the attic. Before he could say anything, I rushed off the hallway C. Please don't follow me. There was a reason why I had to do that. The Atsuki from that morning, it was very possible he was somewhere, and I really wanted to find him again. The attic had been where we'd parted, but I had to go alone. The reason was that he was a future version of the Atsuki I'd just been with. I'd concluded that two versions of the same person could never interact with each other. That was a real paradox devoid of origin, and paradoxes were impossibilities. That meant that if Atsuki had come with me, it would have guaranteed that I wouldn't have found his future self. In the world we were in, it was very possible the door to the attic had been open, how we'd left it. That was why I told him not to follow me. So I don't remember either, but was the scene where Shirya and Atsuki found the other Atsuki, was that a different Shirya then? Because she doesn't seem to think that is possible right now. Or was that me and not Shirya? I don't remember. Because going by myself, it was impossible I would find him. The reason I was going to the attic, the farthest place from the crystal floor, was also because I was searching for a future version of the Atsuki I'd just been with. I told him I was going there, so if his future self was in that world, I knew he would be waiting. And lastly, it had been to verify my conclusion, to verify that there was no past self of mine locked in a bedroom. When I confirmed I wasn't being followed, I breathed in relief. I tried to open the elevator, but it wasn't there. I should use it. If he's on another floor, he'll at least hear me. I pressed the button and waited for the elevator. Once it had come, I stepped inside. The 7 button wasn't available, but I still had the key to the attic. After getting it out of my purse, I enabled the button and pressed it to start ascending. On the way, my anticipation compounded. My heartbeat meshed with the slight friction of the ropes above. Upon arriving, I slowly opened the door, revealing an empty hallway. I stepped out and walked to the turn. As soon as I looked ahead, it was settled. My past self wasn't there, as both bedrooms were open. But where was Atsuki? It didn't seem like anyone was there. I headed to the living room and looked at the floor. These footprints, they're very recent. Then a sound came from the stairs. Fixing my eyes on the door, I noticed it was approaching. And finally, it opened. The person behind it, was it the one I'd wanted to see? There you are, you did come. I'd forgotten you had the key to the attic. Are you the Atsuki from this morning? Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't wrong. You knew I would come, right? You remember what happened? He nodded. That was it. Finally found him. We just had to stay together from that point on. What had happened after I traveled didn't matter anymore. As long as I stayed with Atsuki, we would be together at 9 PM, which he had lived through once already. I was so relieved, and he looked the same. However, there was something else on his face. I felt it was exhaustion. Have you been here all this time? When you disappeared this morning, I tried to find you, but I was in another world, right? I think so. I learned a lot of things. It's been longer than you think since I saw you. What do you mean? You said the recording was real, right? What happened at 9 p.m.? And why did both of us appear at the start of today? Why did we travel to this morning? I know the answer now. I remember what you told me. You said you traveled to the 30th of November, and that a few days later you touched the Sekimeiya in the tower. Is that right? Yes, that's when I appeared with you in the lobby. No, that's wrong. I know what happened to you. For a moment I was lost. What did that mean, what had happened to me? You didn't go to November. You went to the future. What? No, I didn't. I went 2 weeks to the past. I don't know why you think that, but I believe you went to the future. You said that you entered the tower in early December. I believe that was the 5th of January instead. The 5th of January? That doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense, did it? The days I'd spent in my apartment, that had been in December, hadn't it? Like I said, the recording was real. On the 5th of January, we were in the tower. That's why when you touched the Sekimeiya, I appeared with you in the lobby. No. How would I have gone to the future? There's no way. With the Sekimeiya, there were 2 of them. No, I saw that too. What do you mean though? I thought about everything that happened. There always were 2 Sekimeiya, but only one of them made us go to the past. The other one made us go to the future instead. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Sure. The one in the water tank sent you to the future, but that wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time you traveled forward in time. There were others. I was at a loss for words. That couldn't be the truth. It didn't make sense. But if it had happened before... Earlier, when our past selves had traveled to the attic, I'd pressed the elevator button 2 times, and only one of them could have caused the sound we'd heard. If instead we'd appeared in the future, that would have solved it. We'd immediately thought we'd traveled just a few minutes to the past because the handle in the bedroom had been reattached and our footprints were still visible in the living room. But that would have been the case a few minutes into the future too. Was that really possible though? Wouldn't we have noticed a ton of contradictions? This will have no impact whatsoever, so answer as you see fit. Where did Shiria travel? Huh. Alright. You say this has no impact. Well... To the past or to the future? Well, let's assume that she actually did travel to the future. That would be weird though. Because, well, yes, technically the days she had spent in the past, could they have been from a point in the future? Well, some of them for sure, like the events, well, the days she spent in her room, technically, I guess. But what about all the rest? What about the newspaper at the coffee, the news show in there? What about the time she at least thought she saw Atsuki in his apartment? What about I guess what about Waisuda and the that apartment? What about the whole beginning scene where she was waking up at the bottom of that sewer, I guess. Was it a sewer? Maybe. What about the calls with her mom? Well, calls. You know, attempted calls, I guess. What about all of those? Those make no sense if it wasn't November. Would they? I don't think they would make sense. Okay, let's go further. Assume it was the 5th of January. I mean, that would mean... Because she spent... How many days did she spend? She definitely spent more than 5 days, right? She would have seen, like, New Year's would have happened. Surely you don't just not realize that. I do want to believe Atsuki's onto something there. And maybe it would make more sense with that elevator thing, but I just can't see... I might be wrong about this, but I can't see how it would make sense about, you know, all of those things that happened in that travel where she went outside the tower. So I'm gonna click onto the past. And let's go with that. So you read a story where Shiria had traveled to the past. In reality, she did travel to the future, and just like you, she never realized it. Okay, then explain. How does that make any sense? However, everything around her pointed at the truth that she failed to notice. She felt free after so long, which prevented her from realizing that she was still trapped. That was due to her narrow field of view. Just like her, depending on the way things were looked at, you would have been told an entirely different story. But there's no shame in that. Both of them are just as valid. So... Oh, okay. Okay. Is the game here telling me that she traveled to the future, but the reason all of those contradictions are there aren't because she didn't travel to the future, but they are because Shiria herself believed she was in the past. So she experienced things differently and had a different view of it that created these contradictions that weren't actually existing? Is that kind of the thing the game is trying to tell me here? Maybe. Every mystery has been accompanied by the key to unlock it. Shiria went to the future. That's why the days of the week didn't match December when the 15th was a Thursday. Did that ever get mentioned? Maybe it was in passing, I didn't realize that. That's why it wasn't snowing when she stepped out of the drainage channel. That's why as soon as she got home she heard fireworks celebrating the new year. Oh, there were fireworks! God damn, I forgot about that. Now that the game mentioned... Yeah, there were. There was this scene where she was lying in bed and, you know, there were these fireworks and she was saying, you know, people always with their fire. Ah! Okay. I love that. I actually thought about that and just forgot that scene happened. Nice. Okay. True, there were fireworks. But one time, Darcy told her she could drink alcohol. Given her birthday, that meant she was already 20 years old and legally allowed to drink. Okay, how am I supposed to know that? Like, I know her birth year, right? But it's like, I don't know her exact birth date, right? Or did that get mentioned? I feel like it might have been at some point. Let me actually... I'm curious now. Not notes. Search. Birthday. But earlier. Okay, no, that's Isla. Okay. Okay, we were told. Yep, okay. Why does Darcy know? Why does Darcy know Shira's exact birthday? Okay, sure. When was that? That was like maybe 4 or 5 hours into the game? Maybe it came up at a separate point. Okay, yeah, it did come up again, yes. Okay, it did come up again, yes. Okay, it came up 3 times in the first chapter. Fair enough. I did kind of have like a vague memory that we were told, but I couldn't remember if it actually happened. Okay, and I certainly couldn't remember that it was actually like, you know, around this time. That's okay. Okay, sure. Like, knowing all of these facts now, fair enough. Yep. Could have figured that out, potentially. There have been countless keys, but some of them have been much smaller than you might think. However, know they're there and hunt for them. The time where your success will be measured will come, and now it is very close. Okay. Before we continue any further with that, let me actually go... Can I go back? Yeah, I do want to know what happens if I click onto the future. So you read a story where Shiria had traveled to the future. That was the truth. Everything around her pointed to it, yet she failed to notice it. Okay, that is just the same, isn't it? Okay, yeah, it's just the same. Same text. Okay. Now the question is, okay. I do kind of want to know, before we continue any further, because I feel like we're getting close to the end of chapter 3. Do we just... Because I'm still thinking about that one choice we had at like halfway past through this chapter somewhere. Don't know where it was exactly. But where we could choose to just let time pass and not do anything. Not go to the tower, basically. And I don't know how long that option is. And I wonder if I should do that now or not. No, we'll continue. In the living room, Shiria thought to herself. Everything she'd experienced. How could it have happened in January? It seemed impossible at first, but she soon realized it wasn't. Even if that was the case, though, there were many questions to answer. Okay, I can't stop it. So what now? What will happen at 21? It'll be fine, we'll be able to leave. Finally, Shiria breathed a sigh of relief, but it was cut short by what she didn't expect. Isn't over yet, though. We do have one more thing. Shiria peered at him, wondering what just we are going to save Mia. That wasn't the end for them. But only the final step was left. How could that goal be achieved? Shiria wondered that as she awaited Atsuki's next words. Mia, who had been seen in the tower, how could she be saved? Shiria had thought about it for countless hours, but a way to save Mia had always meant her own death. She'd never believed it had been possible to truly decide between the two worlds. Would Atsuki come with her? If they abandoned their world together, maybe it would be bearable, but she soon learned that he wouldn't. And that though it had seemed impossible, there had always been a path toward a desirable outcome. Complete chapter 3. There we go. And with that, we'll just use that. I knew we were close to the end of the chapter. We'll use that opportunity to end the episode here. We'll save that. And then I guess in the next episode, we'll go back to that choice, sort of halfway through chapter 3. That was a long chapter, by the way. It felt very long, at least. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was. That's still from chapter 3, and that's like 10 hours ago, almost. I think that was chapter 3 as well that I just overrode. Can we actually see how many scenes there were? It's 26. Okay. I guess the scenes in this chapter were a bit longer. Okay, 29 in that. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So she did travel to the future, huh? I still don't quite get how that very first scene made sense then. There's still a few things that I'm not sure about. Yeah, she woke up in an underground tunnel. But it wasn't November 30th then. It was sometime at the end of December. Uh-huh. Okay, I mean, technically, I guess she just woke up in an underground tunnel. She just assumed it would be the hole that she fell through on November 30th. Why her whole body hurts? Who knows? We don't. Apart from that, I think that was the main contradiction. Uh-huh. Okay, that whole forum thread about Waisude. Who knows? My phone displays not okay, just times. It always just mentioned a time. Okay. But I mean, that would explain quite possibly why the tower was just dark and there was no one there. Maybe in the future they've just given up on it. But it was open, wasn't it? The shutter? That's interesting. Anyway, lots to think about. But yeah, for now, hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks for doing so. And I'll see you guys again next time. Till then, bye.